We are with Representative Strom Peterson from the 21st District. The first thing I want to ask you is about access to the legislature now that you are having a remote virtual session.
Certainly that's been on our minds getting ready for session and now that we're in session. But I would say, you can kind of check out the link below to really access, I think, your legislators even more easily than before. Just this morning we had a testimony in the Housing, Human Services, and Veterans Affairs Committee, and we had veterans testifying from all over the state that otherwise would have having driven to Olympia, find time to take off of work, find time for childcare, all of those things, but they were able to phone in, give some incredibly moving testimony on preventing veteran suicide. And I just don't think that would have happened without this remote testimony. So while we're all adjusting to this very different world in which we live in these little boxes here on Zoom, we do have the opportunity, I think, to reach out to a lot more citizens in Washington State.
Give me your thoughts about what this week, which, we celebrated Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy. What does that mean to you in this coronavirus time, in this remote session?
I think we are really looking as a legislator, and me personally as your legislator here in the 21st District, really looking at everything through the lens of justice, whether it's environmental justice and the work that we're doing to reduce our carbon impact, whether it's economic justice to make sure that we're supporting families and small businesses and making sure that they're getting the support that they need, or whether we're supporting social justice issues. And we have a whole host of bills in all of these areas. But I think social justice is really, as we've seen the protests that happened over the summer after the murder of George Floyd and so many others, that we're really taking a strong look at how do we fix our systems in Washington State. And I'm so proud to stand with so many of our legislators and the work that they've done in police reform and police accountability, and working with our law enforcement community to make sure that this is sound, smart legislation, but really goes to protecting and supporting those communities that we have so often ignored. And I'm very proud of a couple of bills that I've introduced kind of in this world of social justice reform. I learned that one thing that happens after somebody's arrested is that the police don't have to record any interrogations. And to me, that just doesn't make sense. It seems that if you're arrested for a felony, or especially if you're a juvenile that's been arrested and the police are interrogating you and trying to find out what happened or get you to confess, that there should be an actual recording of that conversation. Some municipalities do that in Washington, but not all do. And I think it's time that we join about 30 other states in making sure that we record these interrogations. I think it's better for the police, so it's not just a matter of kind of who said what and when. And of course, I think it really serves justice as well. And then another issue that I'm really excited about is really drastically changing the use of solitary confinement in our jails and prisons. I think it is an absolutely inhumane practice that we use all too often in Washington. We're by far not the worst in the country when it comes to the use of solitary confinement, but we have a long ways to go to make sure that we're treating those that are incarcerated in our state with the dignity and respect that they deserve. Certainly there are safety issues that might come up, and those can be addressed, but we use solitary confinement in far too many instances. So I've introduced a bill to severely limit that use, and I'm excited about that as well.
Is there anything else you would like to add for your constituents?
I would just like to add that it's super important that we hear from the people of the 21st District. Well, it's always been so great to have people come and visit when they can down in Olympia, and we always welcomed you into the office. And if we could set up a tour or some fun thing like that. Well, we know that's not going to happen this year. It'll happen in coming years, but just so important that we hear from you. I get some of my best ideas for legislation from my constituents, and I want the feedback because I really think it's important that I support the members of my district, whether it comes to environmental regulation or justice reform, as we just talked about, but so many important issues for the citizens of Edmonds and Mukilteo and Linwood and Everett and this great little corner of Southwest Snohomish County. So don't forget to email us if you have thoughts about bills. Again, there's some information about how you can testify, how you can find information about the bills that are going on in Olympia or virtually in Olympia, I guess, this year. But please be sure to reach out to my office. My staff, Josh is fantastic. He's been with me for a couple of years now. And I also just want to give a great shout out to the staff as a whole to make this virtual session work. The technology that they've been able to do is really, we got through the first week and I think we got through it pretty well. We're able to get some bills moving out of committee. So kudos to the staff. And for those of you who have reached out before, you know that Josh is a fantastic representative for me, and we'll be sure to make sure that we can connect anytime we can. So thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing from you.